Hello to YouTube, Shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. This time we are diving right back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, I know it's been a while since I've did a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile video, but I felt now was as good a time as any. Well, considering how Dueling Network and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro have been snaked by Konami, DevPro might not be too far behind, so I might as well get these done whenever I can. So, as you couldn't tell by the video or by the screen that you're watching right now, we are doing a brand new deck archetype based off the deck used by one of the characters from Arc 5, Sawatari. I love that little prick. These are the Abyss Actors. Now, these are all dark type monsters that pretty much specialize in pendulum summons. It's outside of the double Ds and triple Ds and the Performer Pals. This is probably one of the few archetypes that are solely based around pendulum summons. So this is the deck I've done. I've been playing with this for like 2 weeks now, tweaking and adding and subtracting cards whenever they come up. So I thought I'd decide to give you my little take on this whole thing. So anyway, let's look at the deck that we have. We got standard deck, we got 20 monsters, 11 spells, 9 traps, and only 4 monsters in the extra deck. I'll explain my reasoning for that later. So let's get started. We're going down the line. We got Abyss Actor Evil Heal. It is a level 8 monster, 3,000 attack, 2,000 defense, scales only 1, and it's got a nice little pendulum effect. Once per turn, you contribute an Abyss Actor you control, then target a monster your opponent controls. It will face up anyway. It loses attack equal to the attributed monster until the end of this turn. Monster effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one face up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1,000 for each one that you control. For each Abyss Actor that you control until the end of the turn. When this card destroys a monster by battle, you can target an Abyss Script spell card in your graveyard, set it to the field. I'll get to what Abyss Scripts do in a minute. But first, let's look at Evil Actor. He is a monster. 8,000 attack. His pendulum effect is very good for knocking down those monsters that are about too strong to knock back. Now, with this deck, you can easily fill up your entire field with monsters. So at the very most, you'll be knocking down their attack anywhere between 1,000 and 5,000. So on the average, I can knock it down by 3,000. I can take a Blue Eyes out with this thing. I'm sorry, I had the monster effect mixed up. This is a good one to weaken your opponent's monster, so you can at the most knock it down by 3,000 if you have another another Evil Heal on the field, which is good. So that's easily making to take out those pesky little attack monsters. As for its effect, its monster effect, like I mentioned a few seconds before, when it's normal or special summon. So either way, it doesn't matter how he's summoned to the field. If he's tributed or if he's special summoned by pendulum effect, he's going to be knocking down their attack either anywhere between 1,000 and 5,000, depending on how many you have on the field. This is pretty good because there are a lot of big beefy motherfuckers out there, and this is good for just knocking them down. So, and he is the biggest beater in the entire deck, so you definitely want him in the deck. I'll get to what the Abyss Scripts do a little later. So I used to run 3 of them. I'm running 2, just for that reason. Next up, we have Abyss Actor Superstar, 7. So level 7, 2,500 attack, 1,800 defense, scales only 3. Pendulum effect. Once per turn, you contribute an Abyss Actor monster, then target a Abyss Script spell card in your graveyard. Bring that sucker to your hand. So that's something good. So let's go on to the monster effect. When this card is normal or special summoned, your opponent cannot activate traps, spell traps, or their effects. Nice. Once per turn, you can set an Abyss Script spell card directly from your deck, but it's sent to the graveyard during the end phase. So anyway, 2,500 attack. It's about as strong as a Dark Magician. So if this guy is good for the Blue Eyes of the deck, this is the Dark Magician of the deck. So anyway, yeah. Tributing Abyss Actors is nothing is nothing for this deck. You can easily tribute some of them as much as you want, and you can tribute them for fodder or what have you. You can just bring them back because they're all pendulum monsters. And like I said, I'll get to what Abyss scripts do in a little bit. But this is good for recycling those Abyss scripts in your graveyard for a pendulum effect. Now, with this monster effect, you're definitely going to be normal or special summoning this guy thanks to pendulums. And it means your opponent can't activate shit when this bad boy hits the field. So they is fucked. Now, as for the secondary effect, setting an Abyss script spell card from your deck, just remember, you want to get a spell card that you're going to use that turn. I know you'll be tempted to set it once you read what their effects are, but you want to use them that turn because they'll just get sent to the graveyard. I used to run 3 before this guy dropped, so I'm running 2. Alright, we're moving to the lower level monsters. We got Abyss Actor Shintigercurl. He is level 4, 1700 attack, 1000 defense, scale 2. This guy's very important to this deck. I'll show you why. If the pendulum effect, if an Abyss Actor you control would be destroyed by battle or by opponent's card effect, blow this card up instead. Monster effect, the first time this card would be destroyed by battle or by card effect each turn, it's not destroyed. If this card would be destroyed by battle or sent from the owner's zone, sent from the owner's monster zone, or destroyed by card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Abyss Actor. This is awesome. I love this guy. As soon as he came out, and when I first started playing with the deck really didn't have any way of gaining field advantage or doing a lot of searching. This guy came out, I was like, fuck yes, this is just what the deck needed. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, his pendulum effect I have used sparingly. It's useful in case for those times your opponent uses a Raigeki or a Darkhold or Black Robe bombs the field or uses Judgment Dragon. But this one just protects your monsters from being destroyed. His monster effect is very good for staying power. He's a nice little wall. They have to put in more resources to take this guy out because once per turn he can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects. So they have to waste attacks or spell cards or trap cards or effects to get rid of this guy. And when he leaves the field, you get to summon a lower one to the field. This makes the deck incredibly versatile. This is just what the deck needed for some added speed, because not only does this make it very hard for them to get over this card, but he'll just summon another one. And all of them have interesting effects, at least the level 4 ones do. I run 3. This is needed. Next up, we have Abyss Actor Wild Hope, another one recently added. Like his predecessor, he's level 4, 1600 attack, 1200 defense, scale 2, but that's easily amendable. Pendulum effect, once per turn, you can target one Abyss Actor in your pendulum zone. That pendulum scale becomes 9 until the end of this turn. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Abyss Actor monsters, even if this card leaves the field. Monster effect, once per turn, you can make this card gain 100 attack for each Abyss Actor monster you control with different names until the end of the turn. If this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can add an Abyss Actor monster card from your deck, except Wild Hope. You can only use it once per turn. Now, normally I was wondering with this guy how I was going to get him to the field because he's a level 8. And since the scales since the scales for all the monsters at the maximum go up to 8, there's no way you can pendulum summon this guy. That is until he hit the field. This means as long as there's another Abyss Actor card in his other pendulum zone, you can just bump it up to 8. Well, I mean to bump it up to 9, meaning you can pendulum summon this guy, which makes it all the better. So I often use him to just bring out all of my monsters, including my big bastard, and my opponent really can't do shit about it. So I love it. As for his monster effect, gaining 100 attack means that it's not for every Abyss Actor monster you control, but ones with different names. So at best, you'll be bumping him up to at least 2100. That's pretty good for standable size for his level. And when he gets blown up, he just searches an Abyss Actor card That's what I said, card. Anything with Abyss Actor in it. So it can search out any of the Abyss Actors except for itself, which would make it too broken. But yeah, run 3, you'd be foolish not to. Moving on, we got Abyss Actor Pretty Heroine. Yay. 4-star, 1500 attack, 1000 defense, scale 2. Pendulum effect. Once per turn, when you take battle damage from an opponent's attack, you can activate one of these effects. The first one being your opponent loses attack equal to the battle damage you just took. The second one, add one face-up Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand with attack less than or equal to the battle damage you took. Monster effect. Once per turn, when a player takes battle damage, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses attack equal to the battle damage. When this card... Let's see. When this card is destroyed by battle, or when this card in its owner is destroyed by monster effect, you can set an Abyss Script card from your deck straight to the field and just set it. Now, its pendulum effect I have found quite useful, and the effect. I'm sorry, got a bit of something stuck in my teeth, but anyway, its effect is permanent. Unlike Evil Heal's effect. Pretty Heroine's reduction effect is permanent when she's in the scales. I have destroyed Blue Eyes decks with this bitch in the pendulum zone, and it also helps. It's another searcher, meaning that any battle damage you can either knock your opponent's battle damage down, or you can just do a free search, depending on how much life points you have left. Very useful. It's her monster effect, meaning that any time it says when a player takes battle damage, doesn't necessarily have to be you. I mean, simply put, you can swing into a weaker monster with one of your stronger ones. Her effect activates, and you target one of your opponent's stronger monsters, knock him down to a pitiable level, and then you attack her. So basically, as long as she's on the field, anytime anyone takes damage while she's on the field, you can knock down their attack, which is awesome. And she doesn't even have to be involved in the battle. She just has to be on the field. The combos I've done with her is amazing. And she's another searcher. When she gets blown up, searches for it. She sets an Abyss Script card straight from the deck and sets it on the field. And unlike Superstar, it just stays on the field. It doesn't get sent to the graveyard. Run 3 of her. That's what I do. Next, we're going to the little guys. We got Abyss Actor Funky Comedian. Once per turn, you can tribute an Abyss Actor monster, then target an Abyss monster you control. It gains attack equal to the tributed monster's original attack until the end of the turn. Monster effect. When this card is normal special summon, you can make it gain 300 for each Abyss Actor monster you control until the end phase. Of course, his levels are, of course, level 1, 300 attack, 200 defense, scale 8. Now you're never going to be attacking with this one. At most, I've gotten him up to I think a couple of hundred, like in the double digits, maybe 1600. I can't remember, but I never really attacked with him. What I want from him is his pendulum effect. Now here's the situation. What if you're running into an opponent whose monsters can't be targeted by monster effects? So you can't use Evil Heal's effect to knock their attack down. What do? You have this guy who does the same thing, except he bumps up your own monsters. I have actually run over cards like Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, which when it's summoned, dragons can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. So that's simple. I just set him in the scale, then pendulum summon either 2 of these, or 1 of him and 1 of him, or 2 of him. Then use his effect, sack 1, sent to the extra deck. And so if I sack him, I'll give the attacks to him. He's swinging for 6,000. Or sack him, give it to Superstar. He's swinging for 5,500. Or sack him for Superstar, 5,000. Essentially, if you can't get them with this, you get them with this. Forget the monster effect. The pendulum effect is what you want with this card. I only run 2. I've tried running 3, but sometimes they end up as dead draws, so I'm just running 2 for now. Next up, we have Abyss Actor Extra. A pitiful little monster. 1 star, 100 both ways. Pendulum effect. If your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your pendulum zone. You can only use this card once per turn. Why is this important? Because of his monster effect. You contribute this card. Place an Abyss Actor Pendulum monster from your deck to your pendulum zone. And also you can't special summon for unless you have Abyss Actors. That's that. This card makes the deck stupid. Like really stupid. Like if your opponent goes first and he sets a monster, you just put him in your pendulum zone, activate his effect, he special set summons itself to the field, then sack it, and you can just place any pendulum monster you want, depending on whatever scale that you want. Mostly I go for Wild Hope if I have another pendulum monster in my hand. Other times, if I want to just get over on them, I'll just summon Funky Comedian. A few times, if I want to try some shenanigans, I go with Pretty Heroine. Or if I want to set myself up and keep my monsters protected, I go for Sassy Rookie. This card makes it awesome. Just awesome. You won't be able to pendulum summon him because of he's even with the you cannot get under 1, so there's no way you can pendulum summon him. But he makes it so that it's easy to get out the pendulum cards that you need to do some pendulum summonings. Run 3. Oh yeah. And finally, we have Abyss Actor Dandy Supporting Actor. It's 2 star, scale 8. 700 attack, 700 both ways. Pendulum effect. When you pendulum summon a monster, sirs, with the S, you can add a face-up level 1 or level 8 pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Secondary effect: if you have two Abyss Actors in your pendulum zone, you can tribute summon this card. Special summon a level 1 or level 8 pendulum monster from your from either your deck or face up on in your pendulum. Let me see if I can read that. That's either face up in your extra deck. So this card I didn't really see much use in it. But when this big buy dropped, I saw, wait a minute, I understand what you did. This basically makes it even if you don't have Wild Hope to set the scales up to 9, so you can pendulum summon him out. If you have 2 on the scales of the pendulum, then you can just summon him, sack him, and you can just special summon him out of your hand or your extra deck, so you don't have to worry. And his other pendulum effect is good for getting back extra or evil heal back to your hand, since you're going to be pendulum summoning anyway. It's a good way. So if you have a bunch of level 4s in your extra deck, and you have him and either him, or any other lower scale monster, then you pendulum summon, activate his effect. If you have him in your hand or your graveyard, or your hand in your extra deck, just summon him to the field. There you go. So these are the monsters I choose. I did run Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon for a while, but that's only with when the first wave of Abyss Actors came out. I changed things up. So anyway, moving on. Got spells. First, let's go to these Abyss Script cards everyone's been talking about. They're actually, I don't have all of them in my deck, but let's go to Abyss Script. And there you can see there are 4 Abyss Scripts in total in the deck. So let's go to the one I didn't add. Abyss Script, Fantasy Magic. Target 1 Abyss Actor monster you control. This turn, if it battles a monster, but the monster is not destroyed by battle, return that monster to the hand at the end of the damage step. If this set card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, while you have it face up on the field, while you have a face up pendulum, Abyss Actor, pendulum monster in your deck, extra deck, you can target one opponent card your opponent controls, place it on top of the deck. I've tried running with this, but I've never really found a good use for it. Its effects are decent, but most of the time I don't really run into a need to use it, so I kind of just X'd it out of my deck entirely. Anyway, moving on. We got Abyss Script Opening Ceremony, the first Abyss Script to be released. First effect, they all have the same effects. They have an initial effect, and then they have an effect if they're destroyed while set on the field, and you have a face-up Abyss Actor in your extra deck. So, this one is gain 500 life points for each Abyss Actor you control. If this set card is destroyed while you have if this set card is destroyed by the conditions I've mentioned, you can draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. You can only activate each effect once per turn. Now, the life point thing is pretty good. It buffs up your life points. At best, you'll be getting 2,500 life points thanks to this bad boy. So it's very, very good to have in the deck to bust up your life points. But the secondary effect, it's pretty good. I have actually pulled this effect off numerous times. I mean, one guy, who was it? Some guy was using a Judgment Dragon on me, and he blew up my entire field, and I had this guy set on the field, and as soon as he did, I just drew 5 cards. I didn't have a card in my hand, so I just drew 5 cards, and he's like, what the fuck happened? And I'm like, thank you. So you basically get a free hand with this in the right situation. And considering the effects of Pretty Heroine, thanks to her, when she leaves the field, you can set this to the field. Thanks to him, you can just summon him and use the card's effect. Or you can summon the big bastard, and if they're in the graveyard, if he just kills something, you can just set it right back to the field. So you have options. I'm playing 2 for now. I may increase that to 3. Next up, we have the MVP of the Abyss script monsters, Rise of the Dark Ruler. Target a face-up cards on the field up to the number of attack position Abyss Actor cards with different names you control. Destroy them. If you control a level 7 or higher Abyss Actor monster, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this activation. If this set card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while you have a face-up Abyss Actor Pendulum monster, like I said, you can add up to either 2 Abyss Actor cards and or Abyss script cards from your deck to your hand. This is why I like this. This card is ridiculous. Like, first up, if you have either him or him on the field, your opponent can't do shit in response to it. That's just basically that. They can't negate it, they can't stop it, they can't do anything in response. Also, it doesn't necessarily mean your opponent's card. Say if you have this guy and this guy in your pendulum scales and you just want to clear things up, use a bit Rise of the Dark Ruler, blow that shit up. His secondary effect, I actually had it pop off in conjunction with this one in the same scenario, which let me search it's basically let me search any of my Abyss Actors or any of my scripts, anything that I want to fit the situation. So it makes your opponent think, because as soon as I'm playing Abyss Actors, my opponent doesn't really know what to think. I've had them twin twister this shit and surprise them when it gave me a free search or a free hand thanks to this shit. So this deck makes your opponent think. Like, should I pop his back row? I mean, will his back row be something like a trap card or be one of these motherfuckers, and he'll just get an effect because I decided to pop his shit. So yeah, watch it with the shit. Let's see. Next up, we have Abyss script Abode of the Fire Dragon. Target an Abyss Actor monster you control. This turn, if this card destroys a monster by battle, your opponent banishes 3 monsters from the extra deck. If this set card is destroyed, like all the others, you can look at your opponent's extra deck and banish a card. God damn, I would run more of these if I had the space. I've been in situations where I think in one duel, I hope I recorded it. This guy was trying to use a synchro-based deck on me with I forgot what that name is, but basically a synchro version of the deck. I played this in conjunction with Evil Heal. So I run into him, I kill whatever he has on the field, but first I activate him and use it as him as the target. Then he kills something. Then my opponent has to rip 3 cards out of their extra deck. Any 3 cards. I don't get to choose. So not only does this effect pop off, but after he's sent to the graveyard, Evil Heal allows me to just send it back to the field. I literally decimated a dude's entire extra deck until he had nothing left in his extra deck with this combination. It was just stupid. I almost felt bad for him when I did it. It was just like, rip, blow it up. I'm going to use this on my Evil Heal. Kill. You get rid of them 3 cards. Doesn't matter which one. Then, oh, by the way, I'm bringing him back to the field. Oh, and if you're stupid enough to try to blow it up, I'm just going to rip something out of your extra deck anyway, so you might as well not bother. It is ridiculous. Like I said, if I had the room, I would run one more of these just to be a dick. It's a dick card. Now, we move on to, this is not an Abyss script card, so it's not searchable by any other means, but it still works with the archetype. This is Abyss Prop Stagecoach, permanent spell, a continuous spell. The first time each Abyss actor monster you control will be destroyed by battle, it's not destroyed. Once per turn, you can target an Abyss actor monster you control. It can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects into the end of your opponent's turn, even if this card leaves the field. If this set card was destroyed, you can return all cards your opponent controls straight to their hands. Secondary effect, I haven't gotten a chance to get off, but the first effects, when it's face up, I've used plenty of times. This, in conjunction with Sassy Rookie, makes it that your opponent has to really, really flush into his resources, because he has to attack or destroy this guy 3 times if this one's on the field. So yeah, I'm running one. Since it's relatively new, I may run more. I'm not sure. It's up to you. Next up, we have 2 Allure of Darknesses. Basic draw engine. Draw 2 cards, then banish a dark monster from your hand. If you don't, then send all cards in your hand to the graveyard. Never use this unless you have a dark monster in your hand, because you don't want to be ditching your entire hand, because that'd be fucked up. Now, for the traps. We got 2 Pendulum Reborns. They're like Exceeds Reborn, but for Pendulum monsters. Just basically special summon a Pendulum monster from your extra deck or your graveyard. That's it. It's another way you can summon Evil Heal, and his effect always goes off when he's special summoned. Next up, we have a card that I really don't see a lot of people using, but I myself love, and I try to work it in as many decks as I possibly can. Unearthing Destiny. When you take battle damage, draw a card. Seems simple enough, but it's the secondary effect that I like, particularly in this deck. If this card in your owner's control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can draw cards equal to the number of, I guess its original name was Dig of Destiny, but I guess it's called Unearthing Destiny, equal to the number of copies of this card that you have in your deck. I have surprised a lot of people with this one. It's multi-use. You can activate it when you take battle damage, or if your opponent decides they're stupid enough to Twin Twister this shit, or Black Rose Bomb the field, and you get a free draw, depending on how many you get. So, equal to the number, you can easily draw up to 3 cards just from them popping this shit. Makes them regret trying to pop your back row. I run 3. This is a card that works for me. You guys really should consider running Unearthing Destiny. I don't see a lot of people running it. I love this card simply because of the surprise factor, and it's a better draw. It gives you better draw power. I was running Good Goblin Housekeeping with this deck, but this card, so much better. So much better. I love it. Next up, we have Entering the Abyss Actor Dressing Room. The first trap card solely for this deck. If you have 2 Abyss Actor cards in your Pendulum zones, add 2 Abyss Actor Pendulum monsters with different names to your extra deck face up. This basically gives you ammunition for mass Pendulum summons. So in case if you just drew 2 Pendulum monsters and you have this, then on your start of your opponent's next turn, flip this and just send any one of these, anyone that's level 4 or higher, because other than that you won't be able to summon these bad boys if they enter the extra deck. So anyway, just bring these 2, just bring this out, and then next turn, swarm the field if you have the Pendulum skill still set up. So anyway, I run 2, just for now. They work very well. And last up we have 2 counter traps. Solemn Strike. When a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect would be activated, pay 1,500. Negate the summon or activation if you do destroy it. I was running Solemn Warning, but since it was down to 2, I had some room, so I just threw these 2 in. They're useful. The life point pay would be augmented by would be offset by Opening Ceremony if you have the proper card combination. This is just what I run. I used to run Drowning Mirror Force, but I had to make some room for some shit, and I realized I really didn't have much use for it. It just stayed on the field because I'm Pendulum summoning so goddamn much. So anyway, I'm running 2. just for that. Extra deck. Now, a lot of you might not agree with this, but I have rarely had a need to use my extra deck other than just a place to put my pendulums. Like in all the duels that I've played against all the different decks I've run into, I've really never found a need to exceed summon or from my extra deck, even though I have the proper levels for it. These 4 are only in here just because. Silent Honor's Arc, of course, needed. Evil Sworn Ouroboros, of course. Dark Rebellion Exceeds Dragon, just in case. And of course, Castel, because sometimes you want to bounce a motherfucker. I may add some more as the situations regard, but up until now, this is all I need. This is just me. You can do whatever the fuck you want. This is just what I've discovered. And I've had very good success with this. I've won like 80-85% of the duels I've run. Most of the time I've run into an opponent who really screws me over, or I just have a bad hand. But overall, the speed of the deck, allowing you to search and just thin out your deck so fast, this is a good deck. If you haven't considered Abyss Actors before, do so now. They're a very good deck. I'm not going to say that they're, to quote another guy, top tier shit, but they are a good deck, and they do well against meta decks. I've beaten some really nasty decks with this shit, and I'm amazed just how consistently I've done it. So I'm going to keep playing with this shit. I may upload a few matches using this deck. I'm not sure. Just keep an eye out for it, but hopefully I hope you've reconsidered using giving Abyss Actors a try, or at the very least giving Unearthing Destiny a try. Please try this card out. See how it works for you. If you don't like it, you get your money back. So anyway, that's been my deck profile video. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or any tips, tricks, or anything that you want to see from this for this particular deck? Leave it below in the comments. I'll always get back to you. Supporting the channel, you already know what to do. I'm not going to say it. It's already done there. So anyway, until next time, it's been Shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good day. And goddamn, I love Unearthing Destiny.